were bigger than all of them. Huh? What would that help?
Actually, yes. Lois, truth or dare? Of all the guys you've been with, am I the biggest?
Definitely, Peter.
Marriage, just lie. It's not that big a deal.
Best Medicine is all new Tuesday on Fox.
I'm getting worse.
You worried about the baby?
Baby.
I don't think I've seen you before in this class.
Whoever sent you here lied to you.
Someone's coming after us.
The ferryman.
What are you doing?
I will do whatever it takes. The treatment can be unsettling.
Get the hell out!
Sounds like you're letting yourself get spooked by a boogeyman.
Memory of a Killer, all new, Monday, March 16th on Fox. Now, your primetime local news leader. Fox 22 News at 10.
The American soldier has died in Operation Epic Fury in Iran. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday night. For Fox 22 News at 10, I'm Doug Banks. The Pentagon announcing the service member died from wounds sustained during Iran's initial counterattack a week ago. This brings the number of U.S. troops killed in action to 7. Over the weekend, U.S.-Israeli strikes continued, with the military targeting oil facilities inside Iran. Meanwhile, counterstrikes hit Israel and several Gulf nations. Fox News correspondent Max Gordon leads us off tonight.
Heavy explosions overnight in Iran's capital of Tehran as Israeli missile strikes hit 4 separate oil facilities. It's being described by some as the heaviest night of attacks yet, with much of the city still covered in thick plumes of black smoke. U.S. and Israeli officials say strikes will continue as they're decimating Iran's regime.
We have achieved almost complete control over the skies of Tehran. With each passing day, we are stripping away more and more capabilities of the regime in Iran.
Meanwhile, Iran also ramping up their attacks, launching ballistic missiles into Israel and neighboring Gulf states. Bahrain, Kuwait, and the UAE all reporting Iranian strikes, along with successful missile interceptions. This as Iran's president says he won't back down from the U.S.-Israeli pressure.
Our Iran and our country will not bow easily in the face of bullying, in the face of oppression, in the face of aggression.
Here at home, President Trump continues to face questions over U.S. involvement in the war and how long it'll last. Saturday, he attended the dignified transfer of 6 American soldiers killed during Operation Epic Fury. Hours later, he had this to say about the war.
What we're doing is a great thing, not only for our country and not only for Israel, not only for the Middle East, but for the world.
And as the war intensifies, the death toll continues to rise. Iranian officials say they've already lost more than 1,000 people in the conflict. Max Gordon, Fox News.
American citizens have been evacuating the Middle East in droves, as commercial flight options are also starting to slightly pick up. Fox News correspondent Matt Oliveira has a story.
The State Department says they're deploying a number of resources to help Americans still looking to leave the Middle East. They say this includes not only, at this point, nearly 24 charter flights, but also ground transportation for U.S. citizens in places with closed airspaces and a 24/7 call center. The department says they've assisted more than 16,000 Americans since the beginning of this conflict, including high school students who were en route to Thailand for a school trip. They got stuck on their layover in the Middle East and returned home to the U.S. on a charter flight.
We were stranded for 5 days, and then essentially the teachers, we thought we were going to leave on Thursday afternoon, and then they took our phones and said, we're leaving right now.
The State Department laying out their efforts in a new letter to Democrats on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, which is accusing the administration of being unprepared for the risks of Operation Epic Fury.
We have American citizens stranded in the region. They were told to come home, but they weren't told to come home until after commercial air flights had stopped. And so my office has been working with Virginians this week, trying to help them come home.
Senator Tim Kaine estimates thousands of Americans remain in the Middle East, though he also notes not all of them want to come back to the U.S. Congresswoman Nancy Mace making this defense of the administration.
Now is not the time to criticize our troops, to criticize the State Department, our embassy workers, the president, because this is historic. What he's doing has never been done before, and he has been extremely successful so far in this operation.
Commercial flight options are also starting to slightly pick up. Dubai airports, for instance, are seeing more traffic after they partially resumed operations over the weekend. In Washington, Matt Rivera, Fox News.
And back here in Maine, a group of protesters gathered outside of Senator Susan Collins' Portland office yesterday, voicing opposition against the ongoing war in Iran. Allison LaPierre reports.
fighting for no war.
The conflicts that will arise from these actions are not favorable for anyone.
Dozens of protesters gathered in Portland rallying against the American-Israeli military attack on Iran.
I'm here because Americans don't want war.
Last week, the U.S. and Israel militaries launched large-scale air and missile strikes against Iran. Iran responded with missile and drone strikes across the Middle East. Here in Maine, advocates rallied outside of Senator Susan Collins' office in Portland. They showed their opposition not just to the war, but to Collins voting against the War Powers Resolution. The latter would have forced President Trump to receive congressional approval before launching more attacks against Iran.
All the service people that are put at risk, all the families torn apart, on all the people caught in the middle. The cost of it is absolutely obscene.
Among those in attendance was U.S. Senate candidate Graham Plattner. He previously served in the military before his campaign and strongly opposes the war against Iran.
We need to stand together and show the political class in this country that we are not going to stand for another foreign war.
Plattner believes the U.S. needs new foreign policies to prevent conflicts from escalating to war.
Build a foreign policy that is built around diplomacy, a foreign policy that is built around building relationships and trust around the world, not one that is built around serving the interests of those in power and with wealth in order to, frankly, start wars that cost the American taxpayer money.
And that was Allison LaPierre reporting. Senator Collins has not issued a response. We move on to other news here in Maine. New details have emerged regarding the January plane crash at the Bangor International Airport after the National Transportation Safety Board released its preliminary report on Friday. The crash happened on Sunday, January 25th. It says the Bombardier Challenger 650 business jet was de-iced for 3 minutes, concluding at 7:30 p.m. While waiting for takeoff, a review of the cockpit's recorder showed that the pilot and co-pilot agreed that if they waited longer than 30 minutes, they would return to the ramp to de-ice again. The report shows that the plane began taking off just shy of 7:45, only around 15 minutes after the plane was de-iced. The report also says the plane took off normally and only climbed a few dozen feet before banking right, and there is also no evidence of a flight control malfunction or failure. The airplane departed the right side of runway 33 into a grass safety runway, leaving a debris field of around 1,270 feet long and 150 feet wide. Their preliminary report says there's also no evidence of pre-impact separation from any piece of the aircraft. Authorities say 6 people died in the crash. The plane had departed Houston, Texas earlier that day and stopped in Bangor to refuel before it was supposed to make its way to an airport in France. The NTSB back in January said a final report could take 1 to 2 years before it's released. In other news, Governor Janet Mills announced Friday that her administration has responded to a request from the U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services regarding the integrity of MaineCare, the state's Medicaid program. However, the governor warned Mainers she anticipates retaliation from the Trump administration regardless of their findings. Grace Blanchard has those details.
In recent months, Maine has faced intense scrutiny over alleged MaineCare fraud, and now Governor Janet Mills is responding to the Trump administration.
Maine is fighting fraud and will continue to fight fraud. Our responses make that crystal clear. And Maine will not be intimidated by the threats of a president who's using allegations of fraud as a pretext to hurt people. We will fight back.
On February 6th, the U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services gave the state of Maine 30 days to answer questions about the management of Maine's Medicaid program, after a federal audit found millions in alleged improper payments. On Friday, the Mills administration sent back a nearly 50-page response outlining actions the state has taken in recent years to increase oversight and scrutiny of Medicaid providers.
I can assure you, every time we encounter a credible suspicion of fraud, we do take action and we refer the matter to the Attorney General's office for investigation.
Republican lawmakers have accused the Mills administration and Democrats of ignoring fraud concerns. At a press conference just days before DHHS filed its formal response, House Minority Leader Representative Billy Bob Falkingham said the problems with the MaineCare system are likely to cause a ripple effect through the state's budget.
We still have seen nothing of this in any of the budget proposals and any of the supplemental proposals, but the federal government is telling the state of Maine that almost $29 million is due back to the federal government.
Governor Mills said on Friday she believes the Trump administration's inquiry is predetermined and she is prepared for another legal battle.
If the Trump administration attempts to halt Medicaid payments, the Attorney General and I will not hesitate to see him in court to preserve critical health care for Maine people.
Grace Blanchard reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A women's health clinic in Bangor announced to be closing this summer due to staffing challenges, marking another loss for Maine's obstetric services. Downey's OBGYN announced Friday the practice will officially close on July 2nd. The owner, Dr. Christopher Rumsey, said in a social media post the recent loss of 2 physician partners and a midwife has left him on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Dr. Rumsey said this decision has not been made lightly, but the level of coverage is not sustainable long term. He also added that the primary challenge has been the inability to recruit new physicians into the private practice setting. According to its website, Downey's OBGYN is the only private practice in Bangor that offers full panel obstetrical and gynecological care. Over the coming weeks, the patients can expect to receive written notification of the closure. Rumsey says he'll be joining Women's Healthcare of Maine and Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center. A person was rescued by firefighters after becoming trapped in a burning home Thursday night in the city of Waterville. According to the Waterville Fire Department, units responded to a building fire at 35 Washington Street shortly after 7 p.m. and found flames showing on the first floor, invisible from a porch window. Neighbors alerted responders to a possible victim located behind the front door. Crews were able to remove the trapped victim, who was transported by Delta ambulance and then flown by life flight to Maine Medical Center in Portland. A spokesperson for the State Fire Marshal's office says 42-year-old Lawrence Slack sustained life-threatening injuries. They said an investigation determined the fire started in the living room fireplace. Investigators determined Slack applied lighter fluid, which created a flash fire that caused the injuries. They say the fire caused moderate damage to the single-family home. Several pets died in the fire. Authorities say others survived and were taken by the Waterville Animal Control Officer to the city's Humane Society. An employee there confirmed with us that those animals are currently under their care. This past Friday was Black Balloon Day. It's a national day to remember all of the lives lost to overdose. Organizers say it's a poignant symbol of grief and hope. Northern Light Addiction Care in Bangor held a brief ceremony in a moment of silence.
Again, this hits close to home here. You know, there are many overdoses that have happened within the city of Bangor, and you know, it's important to recognize those lives that we have lost, bring meaning to them, and celebrate them today.
We've seen a steady decline in the deaths in the state of Maine. Unfortunately, we have still seen 390 deaths in this last year. So it is important to recognize that those deaths still did occur. Of those deaths, there were over 7,000 reversals, revivals, lives that were saved. So that we got to honor that, we got to recognize that.
Evans says there are more treatment options and lives are being saved every day. You can get more information by going to northernlight.org/addiction care. In other news, during the high school basketball state championships, a wall in one of the Augusta Civic Center locker rooms collapsed with basketball players inside. Officials say it happened last weekend while they were preparing for the championship game. Fortunately, there were no serious injuries. Director of Communications and Marketing Haley Gavin says the city's code enforcement officer has inspected other walls in the facility that were constructed similar. She says as a precaution, the locker rooms containing those walls have been temporarily closed until a structural engineer does a more detailed inspection. An engineer has been engaged to conduct a structural review. Gavin says the Civic Center is 50 years old and has never undergone a major, full-scale renovation. All right, folks, let's hit pause and turn things over to Chase Ropanak, who's in now. The first look at our forecast. Chase?
Thank you very much. Those temperatures boosted up close to 60 degrees here in Bangor for today. Our high officially at 49. You saw mid-50s up into Millinocket, Holton, and Presque Isle, with some areas reaching near 60. We saw that in Augusta for today. Their high temperature exactly at 60 degrees. So for tonight, we're going to stay warm out there as we had some warm temperatures out there for today, even though we'll see some partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. Heading into tomorrow morning, we're going to have some cloud cover early on. A few sprinkles are possible with this. You have better chances for rain showers further north. But as we get into the afternoon, those clouds will get out of here. We'll see mid to upper 50s once again for highs, and the warmth is going to continue into your Tuesday as well. So overnight tonight, looks like clear skies out there, but lows are going to have trouble falling below freezing as we got a little bit of wind out there overnight, and we have dew points right around freezing.
Good to know, Chase. Thank you for that report. We'll see you later on the broadcast. Folks, still to come here on Fox 22 News at 10. A decades-old partnership between two local fire departments fell through. Hear how another local department is stepping up. And we lost an hour this weekend as part of daylight savings, and the debate in Congress continues. Those stories and more as Fox 22 News at 10 continues.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
You heard it was a hit. You heard it was a smash. A wonder. A phenomenon. An international sensation. But you haven't heard them.
March 16 at the Cross Insurance Center. Get your tickets today.
Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover-Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance. Browse our inventory online or in person. Whether it's a car, truck, or SUV, we can put you in the vehicle that is right for you. Sales, service, and parts. Rowell's Garage. Doing business the right way every day.
Maine's rivers, our lakes, our life-giving wells. To ensure that our water supply remains clean and safe, Senator Susan Collins is leading the fight to protect this vital resource. She delivered millions to upgrade Maine's drinking water and wastewater infrastructure, keeping the quality of water as precious as Maine itself. So raise a glass and thank Senator Susan Collins for her leadership that goes beyond politics.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Some news now out of southern Maine. A dredging project is underway in Sauco's Camp Ellis right now. The city says sand is being flushed from the Sauco River onto Sauco Beach in an effort to restore the dunes that have been washed away from storms over the years. But as Max Williams explains, this project may not even be enough to keep the area protected from future storms.
Camp Ellis has been turned into a large construction zone right now, and it's catching a lot of attention.
The equipment involved is just staggering to me.
Matthew and Angelia Yakovlev are renting here on Sauco Beach for a few months. They recently got a taste of what happens here when a storm hits.
The waves are crashing over the barriers, a foot of water in front of the house. I mean, it was intense.
He's gone! Others who have lived here year-round remember the historic 2024 storm, which left several homes washed out and eroded much of the beach. The hope today is piling more sand along the shoreline will help prevent that from happening again.
Our beach here in Sauco at Camp Ellis is notorious for being washed out in storms.
Crews first started pouring sand onto the beach last week. David Pendleton, the Sauco Harbor Master, is keeping tabs on the progress they're making.
This project is meant to restore the beach and give us a buffer between the next storm.
Pendleton says this boat pumping the sand through the pipes is not just helping restore the dunes, but also dredge parts of the river.
We need to get our anchorages back to the adequate depth for safe navigation and the moorings of vessels.
All of this is costing the city roughly $300,000 plus some help from FEMA, but even that may not be enough.
But it's very likely, very often, that the next storm washes that all away, so it's a never-ending task. With this dredge, we get a fairly large amount that will hopefully stick around for a while.
The project is expected to be done by Tuesday.
That was Max Williams reporting. Well, a 2-decade-old fire protection deal between two local departments ended following contract renegotiations. But a neighboring town's department has stepped up to fill in the gaps. Alexa Kennedy has the story.
Palmyra town officials are adding the Corinna Fire Department to their fire protection plan after ending a long-standing mutual aid contract with Newport. Not having a town fire department of its own, Palmyra has relied on Newport's emergency services for 2 decades. After a change in Newport management, the contract was revisited, and Newport doubled its asking price for emergency service coverage. Palmyra could not match those funds.
So with the ways things increase and the way the manpower is, volunteer departments are struggling right now because they don't have the personnel to cover. They really have to have a lot involved, and that's part of the reason that the budgets are going up, and that's understandable.
Newport Fire Chief Jeff Cretion says Palmyra's growing population made it difficult to operate on the original budget. Before renegotiations, Newport taxpayers were covering what Palmyra exceeded in the fire protection budget.
All of those businesses need service with EMS fire protection, and it's drastically increased our calls over the years.
Palmyra has existing fire protection deals with 3 neighboring towns that cover specific regions. Corinna agreed to cover Newport's portion.
We have 4 or 5 fire departments that are right there at an instant call. I mean, there's none of them that are more than 5 to 10 minutes away. We have probably as good, if not better, fire protection than most towns around.
Cray says the next steps to solidify Palmyra's new mutual aid plan are to get budget approvals from the 4 partnering towns. In Newport and Palmyra, Alexa Kennedy, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And now some news to a fire department outside of Maine. A new dispatch system aimed at reducing stress for firefighters is being rolled out in Danbury, Connecticut. The new system replaces the old style of using blaringly loud tones that firefighters found jarring and risked increased stress and other health problems. In its place, softer sounding alarms are being used that gradually increase in volume, while a computerized voice calmly announces the information firefighters need to know about for the incoming emergency.
The new system has reduced and shall continue to reduce firefighter stress from the sound of the tones going off. The information is delivered clear, so you're not struggling to understand what's being said. And overall, you're reducing that level of stress that's involved with this very stressful job as a firefighter.
Connecticut now joins hundreds of other U.S. cities that have since installed the new systems. All right, folks, still to come here on Fox 22 News at 10. 20 recruits are now state police troopers following their recent graduation. And next, here's some locals' takes on the ongoing debates of daylight savings time. We'll be right back.
Purple Coat Bangor is open and ready for business. Jump into the best products, pricing, and customer service in town. Join a growing community with monthly events, art and music nights, daily specials, and plenty of good vibes. Located at 431 Audlin Road, right off of 395. Stop by and check us out today.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Discover the charm of Warren's Waterfront Restaurant, Bucksport's only waterfront dining. Relax in a cozy atmosphere where every visit feels like home. Indulge in fresh, flavorful dishes paired with stunning river views. Join us at Warren's Waterfront, your perfect escape.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Dorsey Furniture has just purchased the entire Bedding Industries of America 2025 showroom. That's one of America's oldest and largest premium mattress manufacturers. They manufacture famous Eastman House and Eclipse mattresses, as well as over 20 other trusted brands. From that buyout, we've received 40 mattresses, mostly queen size, and right now everyone is 50% off. Limited quantity, no reorders. When they're gone, they're gone. Dorsey Furniture, family owned, Maine trusted.
Sleep well, my friends.
Purple Coat Bangor is open and ready for business. Jump into the best products, pricing, and customer service in town. Join a growing community with monthly events, art and music nights, daily specials, and plenty of good vibes. Located at 431 Audlin Road, right off of 395. Stop by and check us out today.
You are watching WFVX, Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Maine's commercial harvesters earned more than $619 million in 2025. That's according to preliminary data released by the Maine Department of Marine Resources. Maine lobster harvesters landed 78.8 million pounds and again topped all other fisheries with an overall value of more than $461 million. However, inflation did take its toll. DMR Commissioner Carl Wilson says when adjusting for inflation, the overall value of lobster in 2025 was more in line with the value earned in 2008. Maine's softshell clam fishery was the state's second most valuable in 2025, with an overall value of more than $21 million. That's a jump of $6 million over 2024. Well, we lost an hour this weekend as part of daylight savings. There's been an effort in Congress to eliminate the time change. Fox News Chief Congressional Correspondent Chad Pergram explains.
Congress is in charge of the time change. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution says Congress shall fix weights and measures. Now, the first time change came in World War I. Congress wanted to switch back after they jumped ahead for some months, and President Woodrow Wilson vetoed that. There have only been 112 successful veto overrides in the history of the country, and the Congress overrode Wilson, moving us back to standard time after the war. We went to the contemporary system after they passed the Uniform Time Act in 1966. That's where we would switch the clocks twice a year. We stayed on daylight saving time for about a year during the energy crisis of the 1970s, but that proved to be unpopular. And they shortened the amount of time that we spend on standard time. That was thanks to an energy bill that they passed in 2004. Now, Marco Rubio, the current Secretary of State, when he was a senator from Florida, he had a bill that passed the Senate that surprised some people back in 2022 to put us on permanent daylight saving time, but there was never any action in the House of Representatives. Greg Stubbe, a Republican representative from Florida, he has something called the Daylight Act, and it would split the difference, and it would move us up a half an hour. But so far, no action on that piece of legislation. So Congress controls time, but Congress won't give the time change the time of the day. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
And here in Maine, the state's legislature passed a bill last year to adopt Eastern Daylight Time year-round. However, this change is contingent on federal approval. And while some welcome the return of extra evening sunshine, others want to see an end to the biannual disruption. Earlier today, we hit the pavement in downtown Bangor to hear some locals' takes on this ongoing debate.
Well, I have little kids, so I kind of agree with keeping daylight savings time, just because when you fall back, if you didn't do that, it would be so dark at bus stops and for kids waiting for the bus early in the morning.
I come against it. Surgeon over at Northern Light, and definitely it's an adjustment to get up at different times for surgeries.
I know there's no real change in how much daylight there is, but it's nice having daylight late in the afternoon again. I enjoy it.
If we want to have longer afternoons after work, maybe we should just go to work earlier at different time on the clock,
In other news, the Maine State Police now has 20 new troopers following the 86th annual recruit training troop graduation. Here's that story.
This never gets old. There's a reason that we do what we do. It's for each other and it's for our communities.
20 recruits became Maine State troopers on Friday.
Hard work and dedication to duty. It's remembering that every day, why you do what you do and how you conduct yourself.
Graduates of the 86th Recruit Training Troop endured an 18-week basic law enforcement training program.
And then if you're hired to be a Maine State Trooper, there's an additional 8 weeks. Maine State Police have done an amazing job recruiting over the last few years.
The ones who were celebrated and honored included some who were not in the room.
The most special to me is just seeing the fallen trooper chairs set out with their pictures, remembering the legacy that came before you.
All 12 of the troopers that lost their life in a line of duty are all honored individually. And then there's a flag that actually has a banner for each one of those lost along the way. If we're not honoring those that went before us, either retirees or certainly those that were fallen, then we're quite frankly doing it wrong.
My dad was in the state police since 1995. I was always raised with the importance of giving back to the community, service, so just a way that you can be a part of something bigger than yourself.
I hope that they do look at that family atmosphere as a reality. I hope they feel that, not just hear it, but feel it.
At the Maine Criminal Justice Academy in Vassalboro. Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News. All right, folks, after the break, the weekend review. What stories made the list? Find out next.
Our names were whispered through time, from generation to generation. Nothing is impossible for God.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
When Maine winter bites, nothing matters more than keeping your family warm. The solution is simple, a high-efficiency heat pump installed by Valley Home Services. It's the quiet, reliable warmth you need all season long. At Valley Home, we're your elite Fujitsu dealer, ensuring expert installation that delivers consistent comfort and maximizes your energy savings. And we make it easy to switch to efficiency heating and qualify for those valuable Efficiency Maine rebates. Stay perfectly warm without the high cost. For a warm, worry-free winter, trust the local experts. Valley Home Services. Winter warmth is waiting. Call us today.
Poor insulation is the origin of your heating and cooling complications. We are Dr. Energy Saver by TC Hafford Basement Systems. We are the local energy saving experts. We identify the problem areas and provide customized solutions that leave your home comfortable and your energy bills affordable. Whether it's a drafty attic or poorly sealed ductwork, we have your back and more. Financing is available. For a no-cost, no-obligation estimate, call Dr. Energy Saver by TC Hafford Basement Systems. We fix uncomfortable homes.
Come in and visit AMHG Works, Bangor's #1 gift shop, located at 36 Springer Drive and the Rennie's Plaza. We have special gifts for you, your furry companion, and that special someone you are in need of a gift for. It's worth a trip in for unique American-made gifts. Here at AMHG Works, everything is American-made, and we are open 7 days a week for your convenience. American-made home goods. We look forward to seeing you.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Welcome back and welcome into our weekend show segment, The Weekend Review. Each Saturday and Sunday, we take suggestions to stories here at ABC7 and Fox 22, ranging from breaking news to feel-good features that stood out to you during our weekday and air them in its entirety. First, a small-town dispute in Waldo County will be decided by a judge. As our Alex Schley told us on Thursday, the disagreement centers on a half-mile stretch of road and a vote Freedom residents casted more than 7 decades ago.
The town of Freedom is heading to court with one of its own residents over access to a portion of Beaver Ridge Road. The dispute centers around a half-mile stretch of the road the Hediniak family owns. The family says they want people to ask before they use it to access nearby trails. But town officials say the road is subject to an easement, meaning residents are free to use it as they please. The dispute traces back to the 50s when Freedom residents voted to stop public maintenance of the last half mile of Beaver Ridge Road. The Hediniak family argues that decision effectively ended the road's public status. They also say that when their family moved to Freedom in the 90s, they received written confirmation from town officials at the time, stating they had a right to the property. So far, the dispute has already cost the town nearly $50,000 in legal fees. Over the weekend, Freedom Select Board unanimously voted down a consent decree, which Tyler Hediniak says would have resolved the issue.
The settlement agreement was endorsed by the town attorney, endorsed by myself, endorsed by the plaintiffs, endorsed by all the other abutters of this road. And if it had passed, I would have dropped it off at the courthouse on Monday for the judge's signature, and we would be done.
Select Board Chair Laura Greeley, however, says the residents made it clear that is not what they want their elected officials to do.
If the people in Freedom want to spend the money to see this go before a judge, then they get to decide to do that. And that is what they did. We had 70 people at the hearing last weekend. We had a petition with another 75 names on it, just wanting it to go before a judge.
A court date has not yet been set. However, Freedom officials say in the coming weeks, the town's attorney is scheduled to hold depositions. In Freedom, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Next, the annual Maine Fishermen's Forum kicked off in Rockport on Thursday, providing education to help strengthen Maine's marine industry. Our Grace Blanchard has a story.
A melting pot of fishermen, researchers, scientists, and more. That's how organizers describe the annual Maine Fishermen's Forum.
Dealers, harvesters, educators, everyone at the table having a voice. And it's not dock talk, it's fact-based.
For more than 50 years, this forum has showcased solutions for sustaining fishing livelihoods in a changing Gulf of Maine.
So we see fishermen as, really important knowledge holders that help to inform the work that we do and learn what's happening in the Gulf of Maine.
The lobster industry specifically really represents, in some of these smaller communities down east and our island communities, the real foundational economic core and driver of our coastline.
However, many say rising costs are putting a strain on the industry.
This last year was to me, was a down year. Our expenses were this is about the highest that they've ever been.
Longtime lobster fisherman John Druin says the increased costs for gear and labor are compromising profit margins for many fishermen.
Expenses now for traps, everything associated with it has gone up. Building a new boat or any parts, any equipment, just everything is just so sky high.
Organizers say the Fishermen's Forum aims to help tackle these challenges and many others through education. Last year, the forum also gave away $27,000 in scholarships for Maine-based students with marine ties, supporting the next generation of industry leaders.
Doesn't matter what side of the table you're sitting on, everybody cares about this industry in some capacity, and it's coming together, being the blue economy community.
In Rockport, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And finally, bingo is an old-fashioned game that's still a modern-day attraction to competitors of all ages. But in the town of Carmel, the winning numbers are always changing. Our Jody Hersey has a story.
22. What started out as a carnival game here in America is now a weekly pastime in many Maine communities.
Oh, I love bingo.
Sandra Storman is just one of the players that attend bingo night at the Carmel Snowmobile Club each week.
Yeah, you have to get here early and get your seat you want.
Carmel Snowmobile Club President Tricia Babcock says the game always draws a crowd.
It's a glue to our community. Like, a lot of people really enjoy it. It's kind of the older crowd, but the younger crowd's actually getting drawn into it.
The traditional game of bingo, where players aim to get 5 numbers in a horizontal, vertical, or diagonal line, is still a favorite that's played before each novelty game, where the players use their daubers to create winning shapes or patterns. Research shows playing bingo improves people's memory, cognitive function, and hand-eye coordination. 35, 17. Dean Washburn has been calling the numbers for as long as he can remember.
Then it was 75 when we got the building out and what have you. Bingo's been going in it ever since the building was put up because it basically pays a lot of the bills.
Many of the participants say they have a lucky seat, a good luck charm, or a favorite color dauber that gives them a winning edge. But for Mark Willey, the game of bingo is just all about the numbers.
There's no really rhyme or reason. You just got to have the numbers when they're called.
In Carmel, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And as the Weekend Review segment continues, we'd like you at home to be a part of it. Didn't see a story you thought should have been included? Well, then email us throughout the week at weekendreview@wvii.com with what stories during the past week made an impact or stood out to you. Tune in again next Saturday night here on Fox 22 News at 10 for a new slate of local stories. All right, folks, Chase Ropenack is in next with our full 5-day forecast.
As temperatures continue to warm up, many of you may be thinking that winter is done with, but we are not done with winter. We got more chances for snow in the forecast with a wintry mix in the forecast as well. When is that going to occur? Well, we'll have those answers coming right up.
Lakeshore Restaurant in Dexter is open for the season, featuring a wide selection of seafood, lobster, salad, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget to save room for dessert. Dine in or take out at 16 Crockett Road in Dexter. Visit us today.
Whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or any commercial vehicle, we know how to get you the big money you may deserve.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the twos. We win for you.
I'm Jonathan Bush. I've made my career disrupting the status quo, creating jobs, and helping people achieve their American dream.
Jonathan Bush. He's a veteran, a conservative leader, and Maine job creator.
Maine needs big change. State spending is out of control. We need to audit Augusta, reduce waste, cut income and property taxes. I will shake up Augusta. I'm Jonathan Bush. I look forward to earning your vote.
When Blazing Trails located in Lincoln want to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Blazing Trails is Lincoln's #1 trusted dispensary, providing outstanding product and customer service to eastern and central Maine.
At the County Federal Credit Union, we value the trust our members place in us to act in their best interest. Whether it's providing low rates on consumer loans or raising money to end hunger, we work hard to serve our members and the communities in which they live. We are excited to bring the meaningful and impactful work we do to all Mainers as we continue to grow. Wherever you are in life's journey, count on the county to be your financial partner.
Lakeshore Restaurant in Dexter is open for the season, featuring a wide selection of seafood, lobster, salad, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget to save room for dessert. Dine in or take out at 16 Crockett Road in Dexter. Visit us today.
All right, Saturday Night Baseball is back. Same night every week. You bring the couch, we'll bring the drama. Baseball Night in America, only on Fox.
Thank you very much. You can see highs boosted near 60 degrees here in Bangor for today with that added sunshine we had, where areas stayed a bit cooler, where you saw a few rain showers early on in that cloud cover. Low to mid 40s for areas like Bar Harbor and to Machias, but we did have some areas hit 60 for today with those peaks of sunshine. You saw that in Augusta out there for today, as we saw plenty of mid 50s reaching up into Millinocket, Holton, and Presque Isle as well. For tonight, our temperatures are going to be hanging out right around freezing. We're going to stay pretty warm overnight, as we have more warm temperatures on the way for tomorrow, but you can see lows possibly hanging out near 40 for Deer Island to Portland, while you have better chances for falling just at or slightly below freezing as you head further north for tonight. So the warmth returns for tomorrow. We are going to have some morning cloud cover, and I think that's going to bring our temperatures down just a bit. Still, some areas can reach into the 60s for tomorrow, but I got us forecasted in the mid 50s here in Bangor due to that morning cloud cover that could bring a few sprinkles to the area, but still going to be a warm day for tomorrow. So looking at 56 or average high at 37, still well above average. Heading into your Tuesday, even warmer. Looking at low to mid 60s then, but a big drop into your Wednesday with some low pressure on the way, bringing a chance for a wintry mix across the state. So highs will be in the mid to upper 30s then, but then a nice boost for your Thursday early on into the low 40s. That's going to come with some primarily rain showers throughout that time period. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we come back to normal with those temperatures in the mid 30s and low 40s, especially for your Saturday. So a little bit of wind out there, not so much for tonight, but into tomorrow. We're going to see the wind helping us warm up. We'll see gusts near 25 to 30 miles per hour at times from the south. That wind will die down heading back into your Monday night, leading to light winds for your Tuesday ahead of the system that's on our way for our Wednesday. So again, out there for tonight, pretty clear skies out there, maybe a few clouds north, but still staying well above average for tonight. Here's that morning cloud cover that could keep our highs in the mid 50s for tomorrow. Maybe bringing a few sprinkles across the central portions of the state. The radar not really picking that up. Better chances for showers further north for tomorrow, but again, by the afternoon, that'll all be out of here, and we'll all be warming up into the mid to upper 50s, maybe a few areas reaching 60 near again. As we continue into your Tuesday, plenty of sunshine once again, maybe some more cloud cover further north, but where you're seeing the sunshine is where you're going to get the warm temperatures, looking at low to mid 60s for your Tuesday afternoon. But we do have that big system on the way for your Wednesday, looking at bringing primarily rain chances here, but we will have areas closer to freezing or slightly below below, giving you that chance for some freezing rain. Temperatures continue to warm up throughout Wednesday night into your Thursday, turning primarily into rain by Thursday afternoon. There's a possibility of that cold front pushing to bring some cooler temperatures and some snow for your Thursday night as well. But out there for tonight, we got lows just below freezing, partly cloudy skies, winds only right around 5 to 10 miles per hour, but they'll pick up tomorrow, helping us warm up into the mid-50s, but those gusts can reach near 30 miles per hour at times. A few sprinkles possible early on for tomorrow, but otherwise partly cloudy and warm into the afternoon. So here's a look at our extended forecast. We're looking at 63 for your Tuesday with sunshine, but temperatures quickly fall into the mid to upper 30s with a chance for a wintry mix across the state Wednesday, turning primarily into rain by Thursday. Highs will be in the low 50s momentarily, but then that cold front hits, bringing us back down to the mid 30s by your Friday.
Some more warmer weather ahead. Thank you, Chase, for that report. Before we head to break, let's take a look at some results from sports outside of Maine. The Celtics and Jason Tatum's second game back won big in Cleveland today, 109-98. The Red Sox lost their spring training matchup today against the Pittsburgh Pirates, 9-7. The Bruins went to battle today against another Pittsburgh team, the Penguins, who came all the way back and beat the Bruins in overtime, 5-4. And in golf today, for the first time since 1999, the winner of the Arnold Palmer Invitational had to be decided in a playoff. Akshay Bhatia walked away the winner. He now becomes the 8th PGA Tour player in history to win his first 3 tournaments in playoffs. And with that in mind, sports is next with Max Sturm, so stay right here. We'll be right back.
We all have a friend who loves the McDonald's hot, crispy Filet-O-Fish. My friend, you could be that friend.
Choose between 2 Filet-O-Fish and 2 10-piece McNuggets, or mix and match for $6.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
ABC 7, Fox 22. The place we call home, telling Maine stories wherever you roam. From sunrise shores to forests of pine, hard work, strong hearts, values that shine. From old towns to harbors, back roads to ocean blue. Neighbors helping neighbors in all that we do. Through storms and clear skies, day after day, we're here with the stories that matter in Maine. From mountains to sea, standing strong and true. This is Maine, this is home on ABC 7, Fox 22.
With McValue at McDonald's. Get deals that keep the party going.
It only takes $5 to fire up the flavor with the hot and spicy McChicken. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Welcome back in, folks. We'll start with the Maine men's basketball team who traveled down to Newark to play NJIT in the America East quarterfinal on Saturday. Getting things started, check out this ball movement. Ryan Mabry finds Ace Flagg. Ace Flagg is going to get a quick pass to TJ Beal underneath the rim, and he finishes off for 2. Then racing down the court are the Highlanders. David Bolden, he kicks the ball out to a wide-open Quentin Duncan, and he jacks it up and puts it down for 3. But the Black Bears respond, and how about a nice three-point shot from Ace Flagg on the wing? Contested shot goes for Flagg, but Maine still trails by 3 at the half. Fast forward to a minute left. Jordan Rogers finds Ari Fulton underneath for this slam and the lead. Now it's the Highlanders up 2 with 18 seconds left. Maine inbounding. It's Logan Carey finds it. He finds Flagg. Flagg fakes, puts it up, and ties the game. And the Highlanders are going to have one more chance to win. Fulton, he's on the drive. He spots up, fades, and hits it with less than half a second to go, and Maine loses a heartbreaker 60-58. All right, now time to bring you the last high school basketball action of the season. The McDonald's All-Star Game was held on Saturday, and we caught the Class C, D, and S action to bring to your living rooms. Getting things started early in the afternoon, it was the North girls facing the South girls. The South puts up the first points of the game when Caitlin Frost of Monmouth lays it in for the easy take at the net. Then Miss Maine runner-up Addison Sear recovers the board under the net. She puts it back up for 2 and 1. She was doing that all day long. Next up, Bangor Christian's Mary Allen. What else do I have to say? She knocks down the triple. No surprise there. The North was rolling, and Megan House finds Desiree Adams under the net for 2 more points. End of the half, this one goes back to Mary Allen, and again she's got it from outside, picking up right where she left off. And she'll close out in the second half as well. This quick transition play all the way to the rack as the North wins 100-69. Next up, it's the boys, North versus South. Another great matchup in this one. This one starts with a bang as Dorigo's Brady Philbrick puts down the three-pointer for the opening points. No shortage of points today. Immediately after, Machias senior Mickey Fitzsimons knocks down a tray of his own, tying the game. We stay outside the line. This time, Austin Armandi out of Spruce Mountain loads up and cashes in for this wing three-pointer. And then Halldale's Tyshawn Cleveland does the same thing. We go back and forth from 3. Tight game in the first half. End of the half approaching. Tobias Nariana helps the North to pull ahead with this sick jumper for 2. And then he's on the receiving end of this sick pass under the net. 2 more to add to the score. Lastly, Fitzsimons helps put the game out of reach with another big three-pointer. The North sweeps all 4 games today as they win this one 116-101. Transitioning to the NFL now, the new league year is about to begin on March 11th, and that means trades are already being made. And we've had some big ones already, so let's go ahead and go through them. Starting with the breaking news coming in on Friday night, superstar defensive end Max Crosby has been traded from Las Vegas to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for 2 first-round picks. Baltimore has been extremely desperate for a consistent pass rush, and this should certainly help to fix that issue. Earlier this week, the Lions traded away running back David Montgomery to the Houston Texans in exchange for a 4th-round pick in this year's draft and a 7th in next year's. Montgomery will likely be taking on the starting role in Houston with the expected release of Joe Mixon. And then our first real blockbuster of the year came earlier this week as the Kansas City Chiefs have traded away 2-time All-Pro cornerback Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams in exchange for the 29th overall pick this year, 2 additional late-round picks, and another in 2027. This one came as a surprise to fans everywhere as the Chiefs have already been thin at the position, but now hold 2 first-rounders this year. And then on Thursday, the Buffalo Bills traded for the Chicago Bears wide receiver DJ Moore, who had great stints in both Carolina and Chicago. Buffalo gave up a 2nd-rounder in this year's draft with the hope that Moore will provide Josh Allen with his much-needed downfield threat in 2026. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Purple Coat Bangor is open and ready for business. Jump into the best products, pricing, and customer service in town. Join a growing community with monthly events, art and music nights, daily specials, and plenty of good vibes. Located at 431 Audlin Road, right off of 395. Stop by and check us out today.
Foggy's Pub, your place for fun, food, and friends in Palmyra, Maine.
A sharp pain in his chest. He knew it was his heart, but 2 hours from the big city hospital could tragically mean the end. But it wasn't. Thanks to Senator Susan Collins' tireless fight for Maine's rural hospitals. Because of Senator Collins' work, his local hospital had recently received up-to-date diagnostic equipment and upgraded facilities, all paid for with new federal funding. Lives are being saved. Call and thank our Senator Susan Collins for delivering this lifeline for Maine.
Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover-Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance. Browse our inventory online or in person. Whether it's a car, truck, or SUV, we can put you in the vehicle that is right for you. Sales, service, and parts. Rowell's Garage. Doing business the right way every day.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Purple Coat Bangor is open and ready for business. Jump into the best products, pricing, and customer service in town. Join a growing community with monthly events, art and music nights, daily specials, and plenty of good vibes. Located at 431 Audlin Road, right off of 395. Stop by and check us out today.
Your goal is to put items in the correct order before, in between, definitely after.
This is The Perfect Line. Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Welcome back. Some of rock music's most iconic memorabilia is set to hit the auction block in New York soon. At Christie's Auction House in Manhattan, the Jim Irsay collection is stoking interest from music lovers. Classic pieces from the late Indianapolis Colts owner's collection are all on the auction block. Kurt Cobain's Fender Jaguar guitar from Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit video and Jerry Garcia's Tiger guitar are two pieces expected to fetch the highest bids. The collection went on view Friday for the public before bidding begins in 4 separate auctions. Community members attended a special dinner at the Cross Insurance Center in Bangor in honor of the Islamic holiday Ramadan. Guests gathered to attend the 2nd annual Community Ramadan Iftar dinner Friday evening. They broke the daily Ramadan fast at sunset and then shared an evening of food, fellowship, and cultural connection. Ramadan is a holiday that is marked worldwide with fasting, prayer, and gratitude. The event was open to people of all faiths and backgrounds in the hopes of not just sharing a meal, but also bringing neighbors together.
A very sacred and a spiritual month, a time for community, a time for spirituality, really a lot of reflection, a lot of getting together with loved ones, and we thought what better way to celebrate than to bring people of this community together and really across the state as well.
And what we really want to focus on is bringing different faiths together because we can all get along, we can all have a good time together, we can break bread together. This is what we need in this time.
And finally here tonight, the Winter Olympics in Italy may be over, but the competition is still going strong for Olympic athletes here in Maine. In fact, over 50 swimmers recently participated in the Special Olympics in Belfast. Jody Hersey has a story.
This is the best day of the year.
Athletes poured into the Belfast YMCA for the 2026 Knox-Waldo County Regional Special Olympics swim meet on Friday.
We practice a lot at swimming.
Take your mark.
State and local police, firefighters, game wardens, and so many other fans turned out at the event to celebrate these athletes and all their hard work.
Any day we can spend with Special Olympic athletes is our favorite day of the year.
The excitement and the joy and the camaraderie that all the athletes share is contagious.
Swimmers from 6 to 69 years of age competed in short distance floating and swimming events, as well as 100-yard relays with members of the Unified Swim Team. Samantha Herring of Thomaston trained for 2 events.
The 25-yard freestyle and the 25-yard breaststroke.
Which one's your favorite?
The freestyle.
Organizers say every Special Olympics athlete, no matter where they placed, is worthy of praise.
If you are an athlete, you want to participate, come on out. If you're a volunteer, we are always welcome and we'd love to have you.
In Belfast, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And that is all we have for tonight. I'm Doug Banks, and for everyone here at Fox 22 News at 10, thank you for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, and hopefully you are too. Until then, take care and good night.
How many times has something broke down, but the right size tool is nowhere to be found? What you need is Red Dog, the amazing universal socket tool that fits, grips, and tightens virtually any fastener. And now may be your last chance to get one before they're gone. Look at all the different sizes and shapes, nuts, bolts, and screws. Any head will do. Red Dog grabs on tight and locks into place fast. It replaces hundreds of different tools, yet it's smaller than a battery. 54 telescoping steel pins mold around any object. Then, up to 150 pounds of torque knock out rusted fasteners. Attach the deluxe drill adapter and drive screws into concrete with ease. Don't let a stubborn project ruin your day. Red Dog grabs on tight. Plus, it tackles odd jobs with precision and speed. No more heavy toolboxes or guessing which size to use. With Red Dog, you'll never search or guess which tool to use again. Look, you could use a ton of different tools for this project, but we did it fast and easy with just one Red Dog. Amazing! You could spend over $100 for a socket set, or you can get the incredible Red Dog for just $19.99. But wait, there's breaking news. Red Dog may be discontinued. Due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, Red Dog is stopping manufacturing immediately. There's a strict limit of 3 per order while supplies last. You still have time to get your very own Red Dog, but you must act fast. Once the current inventory is gone, it's gone forever. The amazing Red Dog. Order now.
Call 1-800-709-0494. That's 1-800-709-0494. Or visit byreddog.com. So call 1-800-709-0494. Order now.
You're watching Fox 22 Bangor.